And you're live.
Good morning, everyone. It's the one, the only, the gorilla and the economist, the Senor Silverback, and his main man, the one and only CJ, the Dennison of the Deep, the uncanny one of the airwaves. And we're back for another Mornings with V and CJ, where we break down the news, the information, and reviews of everything that we deem important and that you should know. With that being said, you can follow us on Twitter at the Rogue Money. Check us out on the Rogue Money Facebook as well as the RogueMoney.net website. Check it out. With that being said, check out our sponsors. If you're suffering from debt and you don't, as Bane would say, do you feel in charge? Do you need debt relief? If so, check out myfreedomnow.us. Myfreedomnow.us, where they'll relieve you of your debt. They will eliminate and hurt your debt collectors and restore your credit score to what you deserve. Check it out, myfreedomnow.us. With that being said, CJ, what is the latest news, my friend?
Hey, good morning. Good morning, V. How you doing today, bro?
Dude, I am knocking back coffees and I'm doing my ketogenic diet, which I'm loving. Those that don't know, it's 75% fat, 20 some odd percent protein with minimal amounts of carbohydrates. And I feel amazing. It's my third week on it. The gorilla is getting lean and mean, and I'm drinking my dark roast. I didn't have time to make my bulletproof coffee today, CJ, because I was busy this morning. But but I am having my dark roast, but instead of sugar, I'm using erythritol, which is a natural sugar alcohol. It's a good substitute. I can't do the stevia thing. It's just too damn bitter. Why does stevia taste like aspirin? And everybody you talk to, they talk about, oh, how great stevia is. It's disgusting.
Yeah, you got to watch that fake sugar, right? I mean
Ugh.
that fake stuff is just not good for you, though.
No, it
Just
isn't. Stevia is the natural stuff. It's like this sweet leaf of like, oh, it's natural. It's this wonderful sweetener. It's so good. I'm like, it's like eating baby aspirin. Like, why is it so bitter? I don't get it. It's sweet. No, it's bitter. Just stop telling me it's sweet. Jeez. Anyway, man, what's crack-a-lacking on your end, bro?
well, it's just kind of interesting, with India, and it's kind of like the prize child of the West, as far as the currency manipulation in terms of the okay, let's pull back the large currencies, kind of like the test model for the U.S. And a lot of talk around is India the next China in terms of their growth. So an
Yeah.
interesting article just kind of maps out regarding that and in terms of their GDP and the growth. And when you look at India for the last few years, India is expected to grow at 7.5%. Compared to China, but it's you really can't compare it as far as apples and apples. I mean, China is just a huge economy, right?
Yeah, it's a
And when
monster.
you it's yeah, and when you look at India, in terms of their growth, it's just you just can't measure it the same way. So, um, the IMF, the World Bank, celebrating India's growth. However, declining commodity prices and other problems, with Russia, other countries, they're more or less kind of talking about that it's
Yeah.
damaged the BRICS, right? But
Yeah.
we know that the BRICS and the Silk Road is the future of world economies.
Right. Yeah, absolutely correct, man. I think there's a lot of crazy crap going on in India. India's kind of doing their own thing, but to say that India's growing like China, well, there's a problem there. Uh, Problema numero uno. It's not a very homogenous country to begin with. There's a billion and one dialects, a billion and one different tribal groups, ethnic groups. And the problem is they don't all get along. Bureaucracies are absolutely bloated. The people just go along with whatever corruption is thrown in their way. Their services sector is losing steam. And then what's going to happen? See, this is a country that's thrived on services, on a services based industry. Okay, and this is predominantly. Here's the difference: when the U.S. began to outsource its manufacturing, China, rather than just, okay, we're going to pick up the slack on manufacturing, we're going to make, sneakers and t shirts for the US all freaking day long, took that advantage to get to a certain level economically. And then when they got to that certain level, they said, okay, man, screw it. Let's go, balls to the wall and we're gonna go and get into high-tech manufacturing. And boom, they went and started getting into high-tech manufacturing, advanced sciences. The fastest supercomputers on the planet are in China. I mean, China's doing space exploration. They've been to the moon. They did that. This is the trajectory they've been on. They used our handout to really get a leverage and surpass us in so many ways. If you want anything done on the bleeding edge of science, you have to go to China. Okay? Anything you want done on the bleeding cutting edge of science, you're going to China. India, not so much. India is, I call American Express, hello, my name is Claude. I'm like, my dude, you are not Claude. Yes, my name is Claude. I'm like, you have a terrible Indian accent. And why are you going with a French name? Like, what is wrong with you? Like, give me a name like Paul, Mike, Joe, John, Bob, but Claude? I mean, seriously? And that's their thing. And you know, and then people are like, oh, they're brilliant engineers. They're great at coding. I think you know, their coding is incredible. But you know, I have like my business partners that you know of, you know, who are the part owners of Rogue Money. These guys are Silicon Valley guys. They're like, yeah, you know, their coding's great, but you ask them to actually create something, it's not, you know, cohesive or beautiful. Like, for instance, you give it to a Russian coder. Russians are great at coding. They'll sit there, they'll crunch away on engineering. They'll sit back and be like, look at my code. I have beautiful code. I write beautiful code. You know? But the Indian guys,
Right.
you know, they'll make something, but it's just like, not quite there. You know, that's not all of them, but like, you know, that's just the thing. You know, it's just, you know, most of them go into these fields that they are not passionate about. It's just a job, but they do it very well. They're proficient. They're very smart. But as a nation, man, and that's where Modi comes in. He's a bit of a dark horse. I can't quite read him. I don't like him. I think he's a Western stooge. I think he's a demagogue. I think he's going to undo some of the things that have been accomplished with the BRICS and whatnot. I think there's some issues there, and I think he could also be playing, you know, two sides, you know, at the same time. So we don't know yet. But one thing is for sure. India is not China. To even compare the two, it's ludicrous. You look at India, there's like a handful of places in India that I would be compared to China, where it's infrastructure wise, it's just on another level. You know?
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Nope. Exactly.
And another thing is this, man. Countries like this would be affected simply because, again, like what you said earlier, the commodity market's hitting so hard. They're not going to do so well. You know.
Right.
Anyway, man, so we got the lefties going crazy in Berkeley lately.
Yeah, a lot of new information coming out. You know, there was talk perhaps that the Berkeley University pulled. You know, obviously we know they pulled the security, but the question is, did they do it on purpose, V, just to incite these things? You know, there was one person arrested through that whole ordeal, and I won't even call it a protest. It was really a riot, you know, compared to, you know, what happens. I mean, to think of all the damage it was created and then one person arrested. You saw where numerous people were harmed. But, you know, the blowback from this is that Milo's book is like freaking off the charts now. They did nothing to help their cause.
That's the whole thing. It's these guys just don't get it, man. They just don't get it. You know, this is what I told the left is, you know, hey, lefties, you know, learn this lesson that you lost and go out there and come back in, you know, 25 to 50 years, and maybe you might have somewhere to begin. And then, you know, then what do they do, man? They double down. They absolutely double down, and they show to the United States in general who the enemies are. It's these crazy leftist bastards led by Soros at the helm. And I got some key pieces of intel, which I'll see if I can break today. Depends on how fast I could type. Either today or Monday, right. I'm going to have some key piece of intel. It's going to blow people's minds away. It's going to kind of paint a picture in a direction of, I think, where things are going between Soros and another individual that I'm not going to name at the moment. But back to the whole Berkeley thing. I don't know if people realize this or not. Here's a bit of intel. Project Veritas supposedly had an infiltrator at the UC Berkeley. All right, and that guy was deep cover with audio and video recordings. Now they got a lot of agitators on tape with clear strategy about how they're going to start a riot and shut down Milo's speech. The best part of it, there is direct evidence, CJ, on the tapes of George Soros funding the operation. Now, the reason for that is this. His son is a candidate there. He's a PhD candidate there and was be involved behind the scenes. Now, the tape comes out early, I think, this coming week after it's edited, after it's going through the edits and stuff. It's going to be a crap storm. And it's going to probably result in loss of federal funding for the university. That you have to remember, CJ. Remember when Trump tweeted out that the UC Berkeley, if they don't get a control of this, they're going to lose federal funding?
Yeah, right.
So Trump didn't just tweet that out early by coincidence. Okay? He knows what's going on. So this is a key bit of intel. This was forwarded to me by the one and only the Russian. He's giving me that. So hold on to that. File it away. Let's see what happens this coming week. Okay? And also, the Oath Keepers are the ones that are going undercover with Project Veritas. All right? Inside this, the whole UC Berkeley thing. Again, this is not being, we're breaking it here. All right? Oath Keepers initiated Operation Hypo in response to the increasingly violent protests that broke out across the country following the election. We had some members already in position to quickly infiltrate and protest organizations that were active in support of Operation Sabbat. I myself assumed an identity of an individual from another state with all the necessary elements to ensure success to my assigned responsibilities. Working during the day, I would travel by night to meetings and protests in various cities. Most weekends were consumed with assimilating reports from other operatives. In other words, Oath Keepers, which are made out of law enforcement and military intel guys, okay, has infiltrated a lot of the black bloc groups, and they're coming in there with intel and video and whatnot. So there's going to be a lot of stuff coming in. So everything's culminating to this moment, man. So again, the left, the reason why I bring this up, it seems as if the left, CJ, is tying their wagons to things that are about to implode. It's like they're hooking their boats to the Titanic. Everywhere you look, they're hooking their boats to the Titanic. They're hooking their boats to the most radical loonies. They're hooking their boats to radical Islamics. They're hooking their boats to crazy left-wing anarchists. They're hooking their boats to nut jobs. And this is how they're going to completely implode, CJ. It's coming. I predicted 2017 will be the end of the left. It is going to wind up in that direction, sir.
Good call. Good call. They sealed their fate when they reelected Nancy Pelosi back to minority speaker. They had a pivotal moment where they could have really have changed the course of the Democratic Party in the direction that it was going. But instead, you're exactly right. They doubled and tripled down. They started reaching out to all these groups that cause all these problems. So yeah, you're exactly right, V. This is the demise of the Democratic Party, and it's not going to recover at all. They're going to lose a lot of people at some point were considered, more moderate, but they're going to go way conservative side when they see the partnerships they're building with all these radical groups.
Absolutely, man, 1000%. They're just known as the butthurt party. You want to be the whiny butthurt party? Go ahead. I mean, my buddy in Cali, my main man Al, he was telling me, he's like, yo, man, I get emails all the time. People want coping parties with wine and cheese. They want to sit there and comfort each other because they're so, butthurt over over the election, over what happened. And, a month later, they're still all sore about it. I mean, this is the most ridiculous thing out there, bro. It's they're going to learn a terrible lesson that they've been lied to their entire life. Their world. See, yeah. This is why I say, CJ, don't get married to a paradigm. This is why I always tell people, don't get married to a paradigm. Right. Because when your paradigm ends, you will lose your shit. You will lose your shit. Okay, you're gonna lose your mind. You're not gonna, you don't know what's gonna happen. You're gonna wind up like these butthurt leftists. Be fluid. Learn the information. Take information, process it, and always be flexible. CJ.
Yeah, no, I think you're exactly right, and I wish at this point Trump would just call them out and probably even get a little bit more aggressive and just say, listen, if you don't start showing up for these hearings, these committee hearings, if you don't show up to do your congressional responsibilities, your Senate responsibilities, you're going to lose your pay. You're going to lose your pay, and we're going to go ahead and freeze your stipend for your rent, for your travel. We're not going to pay you. It's ridiculous that these elected officials are in DC. They're refusing to do their jobs. They're getting taxpayer money. Stop paying these assholes.
Absolutely, bro.
Hit them where it hurts. Hit them in the wallet.
Absolutely. Like, I mean, think about look at Chuck E. Cheese Schumer. Chuck E. Cheese Schumer. The guy's worth $1 million. How? You know, it's unreal, bro. You know, these guys like Nancy Pelosi worth how does that no talent hack, worthless, brainless nitwit worth $150 million?
Go figure, right?
I'm doing something wrong, man. I'm doing something wrong in my life. I need to run for Congress. I mean, it's ridiculous, bro.
It is. It's massive, but yeah. And then on another note, V, we look at the path of where gold is going, and
talk to me, man.
Yeah,
talk to me about the yellow metal.
So it looks like gold is scheduled or pacing this year to have a 5% upside from last year in the month of January. When you look at month to month, and the forecasters are really contributing that towards people are looking to hedge outside of the stock market, looking to go back towards more of a secure area. So this is going to be a great year for gold. So the analysts are stating that an average price this year of anywhere between 1,101 to 1,379.
Jeez, that's not familiar to somebody else's prediction who said months ago. Jeez, I wonder who said gold is going to probably be in the $1,300 range, and somehow in the middle of 2017. I wonder who that would be, CJ. But continue.
I don't know, V. I don't know.
Go ahead, man.
Yeah, no. In other words, it's going to be a great year for gold. And the market this year is going to be, bullish. A lot of the characteristics around are things that we've talked about in terms of the stock market, in terms of these, failing pension plans are going to be seeing. So again, as China ramps up with gold, as the United States does as well in terms of individual investors, gold is always going to be that safe haven. And so this year is kind of like you projected, V, it looks like it's going to be a great year for gold overall.
Yeah, I think so too, man. And it's like, look, when you got guys like the manipulators like UBS coming out saying that they're pegging, when they're saying they're pegging the price on average in 2017 to be 1,350 or more, that's usually typically a sign. Okay, when you got the riggers, the criminals who are rigging the price on the futures market are coming out there saying, hey, it's going to be 1,350. Get ready. 1,350 literally means that you can expect some climbs into the 1,400, maybe even touching close to 1,500. In this year, who knows how it's going to close out by summer? Maybe like in a month or two, I'd probably have better data and I could kind of predict where it's going to be going this summer, going to the fall. But yeah, man, I mean, it's on the money. I've called it like, golly, like 10 months ago, 8 months ago, I've been saying it, 1,300, it's going to be in the 1,300 range, early 2017 and probably end 2017, going into 2018, probably anywhere between 15 to 1,700. Let's see what happens. But
right.
So far I've been on the money as usual.
Yeah, and if the dollar's any sign of it, I think we're going to continue to see that move. The dollar had its worst month in over 30 years, V, huge slide in the US dollar. So again, gold is a safe haven, and it's going to be a great year for gold, and you nailed it. You called it, bro.
Yeah, I mean, think about it, man. Someone's got, look, here's the deal. People don't realize the bubble in the bond market that's like growing bigger and bigger. There's a lot of pressure in the bond market. A lot of fissuring. There's no net buyers of U.S. debt. There's net sellers of U.S. debt. China's dumping the U.S. treasuries at an alarming rate. Where are they going to go? I mean, we had Charles Hugh Smith on of Two Minds blog, and we got to get Charles back on again. And the thing is this: it's you got like 1% of all the equity wealth that's out there. If 1% moves into gold or Bitcoin, it's game over. It's game over. They're going to have to move somewhere. They're going to be going into gold, man. They're going to be going to gold first.
Yeah.
And the most savvy, most the ones that are the most risk averse will probably go into like something like Bitcoin. So it's amazing.
Yeah, and you see some of the financial reporting that's happening. Amazon reported earnings, and I was completely blown away by this. I really did not expect to see this. We have been told that brick and mortar retail has been hurt so much by Amazon, and I'm sure that's a portion of it. But then when you look at the earnings report for Amazon, they they completely missed their earnings, and their stock plummeted yesterday. They took a beating yesterday on Wall Street. So Amazon basically reported earnings of $1.50 per share, and it was versus $1.35 adjusted. And this is being reported by Reuters. And then in terms of revenue, they reported 43.74 billion. Now that's still huge. However, the street was calling for 44.68. By Reuters. So again, so that probably tells you, V, that yes, they're probably selling a lot of stuff, but when you look operationally at their expenses, they're probably it's probably a lot of expenses that are causing them to miss their earnings. And
then
their
overhead is ridiculous.
Yeah, and then they came out and gave Q1 guidance of missing, lower than what the expectation was going to be.
Yeah. I mean, this is a company that's trying to do everything. They're trying to get into devices. They've, thrown money into creating their own phones. That's failed. I mean, I do love their Kindles. Don't get me wrong. I love their e-readers. I love their cloud service. Their music service is great. I love Prime. Oh my God, do I love Amazon Prime? Oh, it's the best. But yeah, it's a far cry from Apple, man. I mean, look at Apple. I mean, Apple's got 250 billion in cash right now. They're sitting on 250 billion in cold hard cash.
Yeah, that was huge. That was huge. And most of those dollars are offshore, right, V?
Yeah, man, and they're going to be bringing it back. I mean, Tim Cook says we're going to bring it back thanks to Trump and his repatriation efforts to bring it back and to invest in America to make America great again. That's what Tim Cook said. So I'm excited about that, bro.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And Amazon, if they dip in price, I'm telling you right now, I'm seeing buy signals. Again, consult your own financial professional, but I'm seeing buy signals all over the place. You're not gonna go bad holding Amazon stock, man. You're not gonna go bad. I mean, dude, I like the four horsemen: Apple, Google, Amazon. I like Netflix. I think these four companies have a tremendous upside. I mean, you got that Snapchat IPO about to come out. We don't know what that valuation is, but don't bet against Facebook stock. It's solid. Yeah, Snapchat does. Anyway, go ahead, bro.
No. I was just gonna say, and then obviously, this weekend we got the big Super Bowl coming up, and certain companies are already hedging against immigration, anti-Trump. Budweiser has launched basically a video.
Social justice warrior beer.
Oh my gosh, just crazy. And then you have Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga that's going to be performing at halftime, and she's going to take a moment to, I don't know. I may tune out this year. I don't think I'm going to.
I don't even give rats for it. It's Tom Brady again. I'm over it. I don't like. Sorry, I'm New York. I don't like anything from the New England, Boston area. Sorry. I mean, I like you people, but your sports teams, your Red Sox, your Patriots, I'm good. I'm all right. Anyway, that brings us to the end of the broadcast, my man. We got to also check out James, the Russian analyst's latest article out there. It's called "After Trump Administration's Likely Envoy to EU Compares Bloc to Late USSR. Eurocrats Declare Cold War Against Trump's USA." Big mistake, Eurocrats, the Euro cronies. Great article on how the European Union, the cauldron of leftists, are melting down, CJ. Great article.
Absolutely. All
right, with that being said, man, give out your shout-outs.
Yeah, everyone have a great afternoon, and we will be back at 4 p.m. Live. And so make it a great day, and follow us. Make sure you follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook. The growth that we've experienced this year, V, has just been tremendous at Rogue Money, and that could not happen without all you folks out there supporting us. So we appreciate that.
Absolutely. 4.1 million minutes spent on this channel by individuals just like you. Thank you so much.
Wow.
4.1 million minutes. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. We're humbled. Thank you. With that being said, this is Senor Silverback and the one and only CJ, the denizen of the airways, the uncanny one. We're over and out. Take it away, CJ.